PEP Radio is a part of the Pennsylvania Equality Project that plays music, news, and weather, actively advocating for the LGBTQ+ and disabled since 2024.
PEP Radio, available on Live 365, Roku, Alexa, and at paquality.com.
Here at Gay SA Radio, we're very happy to welcome the Othering podcast to our airwaves. Catch the show every Thursday at noon CAT, bringing fresh voices and compelling conversations straight to you.
Head over to gsaradio.stream to find out how you can tune in and become part of our family. Don't miss it, only on Gay SA Radio, where you are family.
One man and one woman join forces to rid the world
What are you doing?
of inequality and fascism.
Seriously?
I'm trying I'm trying to do a promo here.
For whom? What are you doing?
Welcome to the Othering Podcast with Mike and Dory. Today is our 1-year anniversary episode.
Woohoo!
So, just thank you to everybody out there. Thank you. And for that, we have a special episode, 2 guests returning. We've got Katie and Emma. Katie, you met on May 26th. She has tendonitis in her wrist. She was a computer school teacher. I think she might still be. We'll talk about that. And Emma, we met on November 18th. She has endometriosis and she loves Jane Austen, just like Dory. And we are thrilled to talk to them both again and glad to have them back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
And welcome to the 1-year episode.
Yeah. I can't believe we've made it a whole year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, so that's what the surprise was it?
Yep.
Yes. So how have you guys been the past few weeks, months? And I apologize if I start picking up your accents because I'm like,
don't worry.
I apologize in advance, but when I start to get around too many people that have any certain accent, I will pick it up and I will try my damnedest to not sound horrible, and I'm not mocking you, but I cannot help it.
I do the same sometimes. I also feel more Scouse when I'm around Scouse people, so I do apologise if mine gets a bit Scouse or anything.
I grew up around Irish and Scottish and Welsh and British and, of course, Southerners, and all of those accents like roam in my head. So if I am around somebody who speaks it, usually I can control myself and not come off as I am mocking somebody, but sometimes it's hard.
So you guys need to get it so that she does it. So then she feels bad.
Don't worry.
So anyway, so how are you guys doing?
We're a blend of countries, counties anyways. Like I'm from Yorkshire originally, so... Yeah, too many accents for you.
Yes.
Just to confuse you both, you've got two separate British accents going on.
Let's start with you, Emma. How have you been?
Yeah, so since we last spoke, I have had a second laparoscopy, and I have been diagnosed officially and properly with endometriosis. Last time it was kind of like, you have it, but it's gone now. So, do with that what you will. It had in fact not gone. It had in fact grown a lot more. So endometriosis was found on my pouch of Douglas, or my cul-de-sac area, whatever you want to call it, on both sides of my pelvic walls. And then I had I can't remember exactly the name of the cyst, but some sort of cyst on my right fallopian tube, which wasn't related to endometriosis, but could have been causing pelvic pain. So, I am the same as I ever was. I'm still in pain, unfortunately, but I have had kind of more official and more detailed understanding of what's causing my symptoms, I guess.
So you're more validated.
Yes.
You don't feel like you're crazy anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's important.
I did cry. when they told me. They were like, "Oh yeah, so we found it here, here, here," and I just burst into tears.
Yeah.
And as Beauty knows, I was in hospital for about like 8 hours because my blood pressure went really, really low, and I couldn't stop being sick. So I was supposed to be home by about 2 o'clock. I think it was about 7 p.m.
Oh, wow.
By the time I got home. So it wasn't the best day, but at least I now have more information about what's going on with me.
I'm glad that they were able to find more information and be able to validate that, because just even though it sucks having that diagnosis, knowing that, okay, I know something's wrong, but here it is, it helps so much.
Yeah. And I was so lucky to have a specialist this time, who, like, the first gynecologist I had, she was lovely, but she wasn't a specialist. So, and he really was. He really knew what he was looking for and what he was kind of going there to find. So, whether it had grown since she had done it, and she had removed like a bit that was away, that was there, and got it up to kind of go away, or it had just grown and she'd missed it and it spread. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it was a good day in a weird way, I guess.
Yes, and speaking of endometriosis too, I just recently read that some people are actually born with it. Like it's already kind of spread amongst the pelvic area on some newborns now. And I'm not quite sure exactly how they know this, but they've, I think it's in your country, probably not mine, or it could be in China, which, you know, wouldn't be shocking either, but I'm pretty sure I was reading that they've discovered that people can be born with endometriosis already. And it's not just females that were born with it was males that were born with it as well.
It's because it's lumped like a women's health issue. People kind of don't care and they don't fund it properly. So
yeah,
in a way, it's good that men are being born with it, and you know, people who are assigned female at birth may not identify as female now. You know, it can affect all kinds of people.
Yeah, and in the fact that it's found in both is actually kind of as mean as this comes off, I agree it's kind of nice, because maybe then they'll take it more seriously instead of, well, it's a woman's issue, who cares? Oh, they're non-binary, who cares? Or, you know, anything like that. Instead of saying this is an issue that affects everybody, even if it does predominantly affect those of us who are identifying as females or assigned female at birth. It's nice to know that maybe they'll kind of look into it more.
So fingers crossed.
Yes. So how have you been, Katie? You've been quiet right now.
I thought I'd just let you lot have a chat and I'll jump in.
I
think when I last spoke, I just had my MRI scan and I was awaiting my results. I since got my MRI results and all they found was my severe tendonitis that they already knew I had. And that was when my orthopedic then responded with, we can't really do much else. You've had the surgery, you've had steroid injections. It's now down to pain management and physiotherapy. And I was like, great, I've already had this for 12 years. I'm 24, that's half of my life. And now you're just telling me it's pain management. So, yeah, I really struggled with that diagnosis. I got signed off from work again. I mean, work weren't helpful at all anyways. No. So I got signed off from work. They recommended me trying a 4th steroid injection. This was the first one since my surgery. So I had a 4th steroid injection, fainted with the steroid injection because it was on the hottest day of the year. So then I got more signed off work because they didn't want me going into work fainting in front of teenage kids because I'm a teacher. Mm-hmm. And then while I was off, I logged on to the school system just to see how my classes were doing and found out that the person that had been covering me was my replacement for the September start. And I was like, do you know what? Even if I wasn't signed off, I'm not coming back. What's the point?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've already in theory replaced me. That will confuse the kids. I might as well just try and get myself better for September. And, you know, so I went to my doctors. I was like, look, I'm struggling with my diagnosis of my tendonitis. when work has replaced me already, sign me off until the end of the year. So they did, and I never went back.
And speaking of which, how are you feeling now with the diagnosis of the fact that it's just pain management? Because I'll get into it. Go ahead and finish.
No, I have fluctuations with it. Like, I had my granddad here the other day, and he was like, "Are you sure they can't do anything for you?" And I was like, "No, that's what I've been told by my orthopedic." Like I said just before we started, I'm in the middle of moving out of my current flat back to my granddad's, back to Yorkshire. So I'm going to have to be registered under my granddad's GP for the first time. It's going to be a different GP to who I was with before uni. It's going to be a new GP than here. So it's going to be a third lot of GPs. So I'm like, right, maybe they might come up with something different, considering this was the first time an MRI scan was suggested.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Who knows what the third GPs might recommend, but it's going to be my key priority once I've got back over there to get registered, maybe get back in physio, because obviously I've had to sort of can it while I've been moving. So yeah, I go flicks, and especially in the cold weather, like the cold weather we've been having, as Emma knows, I've been
freezing. It's been so cold.
Yeah. I've been, taking cocodamol, not codeine, not together, obviously, but interlaid. And I'm just like, can I really do this for my entire life?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So did the surgery help for a while, or did it never really help?
Looking back, it helped for a bit because I had it just before we started uni. And then it wasn't up till about this time last year where it started kicking off again.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't perfect. Like, I still would have pains whenever it's cold weather.
Yeah, throughout uni, you always had your wrist brace thing on.
Yeah. So the surgery helped a little bit, I'd like to say, but I don't think it was the
that's unfortunate.
end result we all wanted. So.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was asking that was because I just recently saw my neurologist. He just kind of was looking me over, and he did all the blood tests and all that stuff, and he's like, yeah, it's just CRPS, and basically there's nothing for you, so just go to pain management. And it's frustrating because the options keep narrowing down for me. I've had the stimulator in my back, and it helped for a little bit, and then it just I ended up having to be on the highest settings for a constant vibration, and it wasn't pleasurable. So, because you constantly feel like you're just vibrating along, and even though it's dead, I still get vibrations. And like I said, after a while, it just wasn't working. And now my options are blocks or constant epidurals or things like that. And I don't know that I want to have to be just constantly shot with
to get really doom and gloom, thinking about living another 40, 60, 80 years just because life is so hard is one thing, and then to think of that with a bunch of pain on top of that, that's unfair. That's not right. Shouldn't be that way for anyone.
it.
And something that we all of us, I say in this virtual room, I guess have to live with, and it's rough, isn't it? Just being told to kind of manage it as best you can, and there's nothing we can do, there's no cure, but just try and get on with it. And it's like, well, it's not always that easy, as I'm sure we all know.
Is that the same for your endo? You just have to live with it. They can't remove things. No.
I mean, they did the excised at my last laparoscopy, but I have a follow up with my with the doctor who did it in December, so I can talk to him properly about this. But I have had I had this pain in my leg, kind of sciatic into my leg, kind of, and that I had 3 weeks of no pain with that, and then 3 weeks later it came back. So I am concerned that it's kind of caused permanent nerve issues.
Wow.
So
yeah. And when it hits the nerves, there's like that is absolutely the worst feeling ever. Like mine has caused me to feel like these electric shocks, and like I'll be walking and all of a sudden I get this feeling like I just stepped in a puddle and I'm holding a live wire, and it is awful, and having to just kind of grin and bear it, so to speak.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really that takes that away except extraordinarily high, like Vicodin, Percocet, things like that. And those I don't want to take. I like being somewhat functionable, and not just kind of like a zombie on a couch type of thing. And it's frustrating that we haven't. I mean, we've had pain for centuries. They talk about it since not Aristotle, Hippocrates, which is ancient times, and they've been talking about pain here and pain there throughout all of those ages, and they still haven't figured out anything about how to help us.
Take a pill.
Yeah, it should be more than just take a pill. And I was reading where some people have, even with tendonitis and things like that, like been asking for amputations.
Yeah.
And I get it.
I mean, I think I've said to Emma before, like, I remember on a TV show we've got a talk show, morning show over here called This Morning, and there was a girl who'd unfortunately lost her arms due to sepsis or something, I think. And she had this robotic arm and it was detachable. And I was like, what's what I want at this point? I'm fed up with it. I've had it for 12 years. There's nothing going to work for me now. Like, I might as well just get a robotic arm at this point.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. I mean, I was like dreaming of having, Tony Stark legs or something like that. And
that'd be nice. Some sort of replacement.
Yes, you get to a point of where no matter how many shots or how many ablations and excisions and things like that they try to do, you hit a point where it's just like, I can't do this anymore. And it's either you take it, or unfortunately you hit a point of where you're just like, your thought process is just like, I don't want to live anymore. And
it's just insane, isn't it? That there's just so many pain conditions and so many health conditions that they just can't do anything for or about. I mean, my options basically now are going to medical menopause, which I don't really want to do. I've been offered a hysterectomy, which I've not been offered, but it's been mentioned. That also has no evidence that it will stop endometriosis. If you have adenomyosis, that will help, but there's no evidence that a hysterectomy will help or cure, and I'll put cure in air quotes here because there's no cure for endometriosis, or have a baby, which I also don't want to do. So they're my three options at this point, which none of those are particularly appealing to me right now.
Understandable.
Yeah, and just because you have a baby doesn't mean that it even helps necessarily, because it depends on the person. Some people it does help. Some people have babies and it's just like, it's still there. It's still a problem.
And maybe I'm wrong here. If it's on your pelvic wall, would a hysterectomy even help? Because they don't take out your pelvis.
No, I read this fantastic book called Endometriosis by Jen Moore. I can't remember if I mentioned that last time or not. But it's an absolutely fascinating book. And in the book, she's like worked with medical doctors and things like that. And having a hysterectomy apparently is literally going to be of no help for endometriosis, because it can grow outside of the pelvis. It can grow pretty much anywhere in the diaphragm and lungs, brain, everywhere, if it chooses to do so. So
which is why we need more science to look into it, because obviously if having a hysterectomy or children or any of those things aren't 100% helping, then it's not related to having the fallopian tubes in a uterus.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a reproductive issue. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, and compared to Katie's condition, endometriosis is really well researched, but obviously it's not. But I mean, compared to what you have to deal with, because there's like not much out there at all. I mean, every time we go in Waterstones, we go in like the book section, and it's like we always look for something for you, Katie, and there's just nothing, is there?
Yeah. And you would think that there would be some, because Katie, you're not the only person that has tendonitis in the world.
We had another guest that had it.
The exact same thing.
The dick veins.
I've been, since I've made my account, I've had Jason Manford, the comedian, comment on my post where he's got it in his knees, and I'm like, why are people talking about it but not talking about it at the same time? Like we've got these, like, you know, Jason Manford's a comedian over here, like he's quite well known, he presents TV shows, etc. And I'm like, I mean, got Kwan not so long ago on a post, and I was like, why can we mention it, but it's just brushed up to the side, like when Gokwan mentioned it, I was like, right, he's got connections on This Morning or something like that, like he can go on TV and talk about it, but it's just disappeared. Like I have not seen him mention it since. There's an actor that I've been in contact with as well that was on the stage production of Six when me and Emma went and saw it, and she followed me on my Tendonitis page and like, look, I think I've got this, and you know they're not helping me, and I'm like, same. Like that's 3 people that I know of that have got some sort of platform, you know, and it's just been brushed aside.
Yeah, I mean, the other person that we talked to that had LoudCore veins as well, she had the surgery, and then they're like, okay, just use it.
Yeah.
There's your physio and, you know, all of that stuff. And it's just like, okay. That's...
When I had my surgery in 2019, I wasn't even offered physio afterwards. They just told me to get on with it. And that's probably why I'm in the state I am in now, because my orthopedic was like, they didn't offer you physio. I was like, no, I was just brushed aside again.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous, because any type of surgery, unless it's like the surgery I had where it didn't really affect my movement, but any type of surgery, I would think that they would want to give at least some sort of physio, PT, OT, whatever, so that you can, you know, kind of maybe figure out ways to work around the pain. And I mean, I don't know if it would really help you at this point, but I know it would definitely not help me. All it does is just makes my legs flare up, and it's just, I want to, you know, punch them in the face type of thing and say, like, don't touch me ever again, and begone you, evil doer, kind of feeling.
The last time I had my physio before I cancelled my last one because I'm due to move anyway. So the last one I had, she was like, you know, it's all, you know, I kept saying that the exercises she recommended hurt. And she's like, well, it's just about building strength. You've had it for 12 years. I'm like, well, that's not my fault, is it? Let's be honest.
Right.
And, you know, I was just like, is this all you can recommend me? Is to, you know, the only exercise she mainly recommended was to get a hair bubble. I don't have it in me, but a hair bubble around my fingers and stretch it with my thumb and just keep doing that. And I was like, is that the only thing you're recommending me after 12 years of this?
Wow.
So,
yeah. That doesn't make any sense at all.
At this point, I've got to that stage where, yeah, I'm disappointed in it, but at the same time, I'm just accepting it. I'm just like, I've had it for 12 years.
But that's not how it should be.
No.
That's not at all how it should be.
Not at all.
If we're coming to you for help, for one thing, don't brush us off. I know there are good doctors out there that actually do care and listen and aren't in it for the prestige and money. But you shouldn't brush us off. You should listen to us because we know our bodies. Just because you don't necessarily see it on the basic tests doesn't mean that there isn't something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not in our heads. I mean, it starts there mainly because the brain controls everything. But it's not just, you know, we're having a psychotic episode.
No.
And even if it is a psychotic episode, you should still treat it. Don't just, oh, well, I don't see anything, go ahead. And it's frustrating.
We don't know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And if you don't know, say, I don't know, instead, and be like, let's try and work this out. Let's try and find something that works for you. Instead of, well, just wiggle your thumb.
Use a bobble. It's like,
Yeah.
to be fair, I could tell you to do that. I don't have a physiotherapy degree or whatever. I could tell you to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to change the topic here a little bit. So for the listener, the reason we have both of them on today is because they're best friends. So
And they rock. And they
yes,
have awesome
and
accents.
we love them, but they're together because they're best friends. So there's that. So as best friends, having someone that has chronic pain, similar condition, so to speak, how do you, I mean, how is that because of having that support system and being able to go to each other and you understand each other? That must be wonderful.
I think for me personally, definitely, because I think I told you outside of our group chat that I've had difficulties with friends before. I had my surgery. I don't know if Emma actually knows this story, but hey, we'll see. When I had my surgery just after 6 months, I woke up from my anaesthetic and found out my now ex-friends from high school had a party the day I had my surgery.
Yes, I do know this story. I think you told me at Ollie Mears.
Probably. So I, cut all ties at that point. I was like, you know what, I'm going to uni anyways. What's the point? So yeah, I've really struggled with friends, especially because that friendship group included my primary school friend who was with me when I broke my wrist, which contributed to all of this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, when I found out that she had a party the day I had my surgery, I was fuming as much as I could be under anaesthetic backlog. And then our first couple of years at uni were affected by COVID, so we never really managed, well, for me especially, I never really managed to make friends as such because my class was all boys. So, and it was all online. And it was just like, I can't make friends online, and, me being the only girl on the course
Doesn't help.
So yeah, for me, Emma's been a lifesaver. Albeit we weren't really friends in the first couple of years, where we kind of.
I don't even remember how we became friends. We just were one day.
Isn't that usually how it happens? You just wake up one day and, hey, I know you. Let's be, you're friends. And I mean, I've said it to everyone else too, and I'll say it to you guys. I mean, all of you have saved me because listening to your stories and realizing that I'm not the only one that has, and I hate that it is this way, but I'm not the only one, makes such a huge difference. And being able to talk to people and say, I'm hurting today. I really don't feel like going. And you're just like, no, you don't need to explain. That's a huge, huge difference too.
To have a friend that can say, I understand.
Yeah.
Instead of, what's wrong with you? Come on. Yeah, that's wonderful.
It's just a little tummy ache. Why can't you do this? Or, oh, it's just your wrist. Who cares?
It's just
Come
your
on.
period.
Yeah, or, things like that. And sometimes, unfortunately, even just having a period, some women don't understand that either. But I've discovered, through reading and talking to everybody, that it's always the marginalized that understand. Because, we've been there. We've all been there. And I don't understand how anybody could sit there and watch somebody go through pain and just be like, get over it.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do that to anybody?
It's weird because it's like I kind of came to my diagnosis whilst me and Katie were friends. Like, we were already friends. I mean, obviously I've had these symptoms for a long time, but I didn't have like a name for it, and I hadn't really considered that I was chronically ill before university, really. So kind of at the time when we were kind of becoming closer and closer as friends, I was also seeking a diagnosis. So like those two things kind of happened at the same time. And then of course, like kind of, the more friendly we became, and, especially in our third year was kind of uni, especially when we kind of, started doing a lot of things together, those first concerts and first shows and things like that. Was the same time that I was kind of getting a diagnosis and seeing doctors and things for the first time. So those two things together kind of, I don't know, it's like a weird link between the two. I'm very grateful.
So you finally let us have our university life, so we kept going to the concerts and theatres and stuff, and that's kind of how we got closer and closer with our other friend Charlotte. I kind of merged you and Charlotte together, didn't I? And we're now like a group of three that kind of go off and do stuff. But yeah, third year was finally a year that we could actually have at university.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that it helped mentally having each other, navigating these seemingly obvious issues that should have been painfully obvious to the doctors, I would have thought. Because listening to your stories before, it just kind of made sense that this was what was going on. And the fact that nobody would listen angers me beyond belief. Like, if life was a cartoon, I would have like flames around my head right now.
I think I've seen those flames before.
You probably have. And it's just, it boggles my mind at how you can claim to be friends with somebody or, be a good person, claim to be a good person and watch people suffer and not try to find a way to help, not try to befriend them and things like that. Like, I mean, what are we even doing here then?
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, we all want connection, we all want friends, and we all want kind of a support group, and, whatever form that may take, we all need it, and having friends who understand. I mean, the last concert me and Katie went to, I was, like, playing, like, musical chairs. I was like standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down. But I didn't have to explain that, and I didn't have to be like, oh, like, my leg's a bit sore, so I'm gonna sit down now. And you'd be like, oh, stand up, what you're doing. Like, it didn't ruin the experience, or it didn't kind of.
I was a bit just conscious of your view because you were sat down, but I was like, I didn't talk about why you were sat down. I was just like, see from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a problem when you're sitting down sometimes at concerts. It's like, how do you see at all? But it's like, but having that person there that's like, doesn't ask you what's wrong with you, why are you doing this, and just accepts you.
It was the same when was it June or July when I dragged you to Chester?
Yeah, was it June? No, it's June. I just had the steroid injection, haven't I? Yeah, it was June.
So I don't know if you've realised, but I'm a big fan of a BBC show over here called Call the Midwife. It's something I've grown up with my grandma, and since my grandma's been in a care home, I've sort of taken a liking into rewatching it and all that. And one of the actors and his wife, who's the writer of the show, was in Chester doing an afternoon talk, and I was saying to him, I want to go because I'm a fan of the show. And Emma, bless her, was like, I'll come with you for the giggles.
I've never seen it, by the way, but, it was fun.
I was like, but, did you message me just beforehand saying that, we'd booked it, we planned it, etc. And then you're like, oh, I'm about to have a steroid injection. And I was like, okay, great.
I mean, I only found out, like, the week before as well, didn't I? Like, it was such, like, late time.
So, we sort of planned to get an earlier train, so we had time to walk from the train station to the Story House in Chester, and stop off for a bit of lunch, and then there was time to stop if she needed to stop because she just had a steroid injection but still wanted to come. And I was like, okay, we'll plan it, we'll organise it. You even suggested getting a taxi at one point, and you'd pay because it was not your fault, but your fault.
It was because of me.
But I was like, you know what? We'll work around it. So we got a bit of an earlier train, and it was packed, but we had fun on the train.
We were like sardines on that train, but you know what? We got there.
At least you weren't as stinky as sardines, though.
No. We were very like squished together, though. Like being in a lot of people's personal space on that train.
Yeah, that's something I don't think I could ever get used to, having to be in other people's personal space like that. Or them in mine. Like, I have to say, I am like so sheltered. I have never been on a train other than like, the tourist type of things where it's pretty much empty.
Yeah.
And
I love the train.
I've never been on a bus.
Yeah, be glad you don't want to get on a regular train because sometimes they are odd places.
I mean, there was one time where I'm currently 10 minutes away from Emma at the moment. Obviously, I'm about to move out, but we were going into Liverpool to meet Charlotte, weren't we? And I got on at Warrington, Emma gets on 10 minutes later. We normally try and get the same carriage, same seat, sit together. That one time we couldn't because the carriage that I was on wasn't opening at all when we got to Emma's stop. You in Liverpool then?
Yeah, I texted being like, I mean, I'm on, but you know.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that. I haven't even been on like public buses either. So like I've been on school buses, of course, but like not public buses because like my parents, where we lived, as you know, America was built on guzzling gas. And so we don't have the ability to really go many places unless you can drive. And pretty much everywhere we lived growing up in all the different states was you had to drive or ride a horse somehow. And so I kind of find stories of being on trains and buses really fascinating to me because I never got to experience those things.
I've been on subway trains, but not a regular above ground train.
Subway.
I feel like we should just take this podcast just to public transport. Like, let's do it for free.
Well, I mean, it does kind of pertain to that too, because, you know, public transportation, thank you. The word just like slipped out of my mind real fast, is important because there are so many people who can't physically drive. And, you know, because of their arms or their legs, and being able to have that transportation so that you can visit people and go to your doctor appointments and things like that shouldn't cost a person an arm and a leg. It should be
Literally.
Yeah, of course, not literally. But these are important aspects of also being disabled, is being able to get to where you need to get so that you're not left behind all the time.
So with that being said, I'm going to cut you off.
Of course.
Are public transportation, trains and stuff accessible where you are? I mean, I know you guys don't use wheelchairs. Would you say they're fairly accessible or no?
From what I've seen, they have like you have to like sort of pre-tell them and
you can book assisted travel.
And then there's ramps onto the train, and you have to tell the guard where you're getting off and stuff.
Okay.
It's more when it's packed for me, because obviously for both of us, but when it was packed that day, I was trying not to grip the rail with this hand because I knew I wouldn't be able to support myself.
Right.
And then on the train back, I was like conscious that we needed to get a seat for Emma because I was like, well, I don't know if she'd be able to stand the whole journey back up to Warrington. So, you know, I was trying to think for both of us' sakes because I was like, well, I can't have a wet rail because I can't hold myself. And
yeah, and those are important because again, having to pre-plan everything and constantly focus on whether or not, okay, is there room to sit down, or can I put my wheelchair here, or my cane, or whatever it is aid that you're using, am I going to be able to stand and hold myself up? All of those shouldn't necessarily have to be so ingrained in us. It should be an automatic thing of, okay, well, we've got extra seats for those who need to sit down. We've got rails so that, you know, okay, you can't hold yourself up, but here, you know, sit down over here, or you can specifically for, you know, certain hands or whatever it is that you need. And it shouldn't have to be on us to have to figure these things out and plan the route so meticulously that it kind of sucks the fun and joy out of planning, you know, trips and things like that. It should be able to be just as spontaneous for us as it is for able-bodied people.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think.
For sure.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, I mean, this like I was talking to my cousin the other day, and she's got 2 little boys. And she used to live in a different area of Liverpool. I'd say Aigburth, but it won't mean anything to you two. But you know, anyone who knows Aigburth. And she used to get the bus back to where we live to see her mum and dad or her sister or whatever. And the interesting thing is, you can't have a person in a wheelchair and someone with a pram on the bus at the same time. There's only one space, and it's either a wheelchair user can use it or someone with a pram can use it. And she's been she's had to get off buses multiple times because someone with a wheelchair wanted to get on the bus. And I don't know why we can't have more than one wheelchair / buggy, like pram or buggy space on a bus.
Yeah.
I don't know why it has to be zero. That's not very good.
No, and
Yeah.
the fact that people had to, I think, chain themselves to buses just to get that little space in, I want to say the 80s, I think it was. I honestly can't remember. But I remember seeing pictures of people basically chaining themselves to buses in London saying, we want to be able to ride the buses too. And we as a society, how can we say that we're civilized if the least among us has to chain themselves to things and beg for any semblance of normalcy? That doesn't make sense. We are not a society. We're not civilized in any way, shape, or form if the least of us has to beg. We are no better than those quote-unquote barbarians that, we went around and had to conquer because they were so uncivilized and crap like that. Well, we're no better.
And we're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
At
here.
least America is.
How has it been with you guys? Like, I know that there have been some issues with like PIP and things like that, but
I've been trying to get hold of PIP. I've applied for it, especially after I realised in the last few months that teaching wasn't for me and I needed to work out like a second plan. And I was like, right, I'll go on PIP until I work out what the hell to do with my life. And it's nothing but difficult. They keep asking if I've not even had a questionnaire yet, but they keep saying like, if you can cook, you're all right.
no, that's not how it.
Yeah.
I'm
Dory was denied a wheelchair because she can get ready on her own in the morning.
Yes.
like, yeah, it's like if you can make a sandwich, then you're all right. If you can make a bowl of pasta, you're all right. And I'm like, well, that's not the point.
No.
That's how it works. How it should work.
You can think 2 + 2, so you don't need me. I mean, what the hell is that?
That's mostly about it. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm totally not moving out my flat to live with my granddad for a bit because I've struggled anyway for the past 2 years being on my own. There's other things as well. Neighbour across the landing. But it's just like, just because I can make myself a sandwich every now and then doesn't mean I'm not struggling.
Right.
Also, you can't live on sandwiches.
No, you can't live on sandwiches
But is that
alone.
the quote unquote only thing you can make?
It's frustrating. And it should be based on, I mean, I understand that they want to weed out the fakers or whatever it is, but there's got to be a better, more humane way of determining who needs what.
Like a doctor saying they need it.
Yeah.
Which we, all four of us, probably could get.
Yes. And actually paying attention to what the doctor's saying. I've tried for disability here, which is pretty much like PIP. And I keep getting denied because my brain works.
Because she can work. She can use a computer, so.
Yeah, but I can't at the same time because the medicine that I take causes brain fog. On top of the fact that what I have causes brain fog too. So, and the idea that just because I can add 2 + 2 means that I am able to 100% work and in any condition is ridiculous. I cannot lift beyond like maybe 10 to 15 pounds before my back is like shredded basically. I can't always stand for longer than maybe 5 to 10 minutes, depending upon the day. And I would think that those should be criteria for saying, okay, you need help.
Of course, yeah.
One would think.
Yeah. And, you with endometriosis, you're in constant pain.
Yeah.
And I would not even remotely think, well, you got glasses, so you can still do 100%.
She can sit there. She can
Yeah.
work.
I mean, that's not how it is. If you don't get the accommodations that you can, you need so that you can function when it is appropriate for your body and your mind, then we can't function. And if it's based on, undisabled people's lives, which it shouldn't be in any way, shape, or form, because they're not really the majority.
No.
I mean, there's like 8 billion people on this planet, and 80%, which is about 5 to 7 billion people, are disabled. That would mean that you're not the majority. So we need to be focusing on how we can function, if we can even function in a working space, and stop tying our worth to whether or not we have the highest paycheck possible.
Yeah,
It,
absolutely.
you should be able to get PIP because you need it, not because, well, you can make a bologna sandwich. I mean, so if you had no hands but could still make a bologna sandwich, does that mean you don't need PIP? No. That does,
I mean, there was some times when I decided I was moving back over to Yorkshire, I kept going over to have interviews and stuff. There was one time where I got over to my granddad's and I was in so much pain because it was cold and I'd been travelling for however many hours to get over to Yorkshire. The trains were all delayed as well, which doesn't help going back to the
No.
That's the joy of
and I was in so much pain that once I got to my granddad, my auntie was there as well. She made me poached egg on toast so I could take some ibuprofen, so could actually feel slightly remote better. But I didn't make that. My auntie had to make it because I just couldn't cope.
right.
And I was like, yeah, okay, sometimes I can make a sandwich.
but not always.
Not always.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, sometimes you may not have pain that moment, but that doesn't mean you're always good. And I mean, that's kind of why it's called chronic. Chronic means it's always there. And the criteria that they come up with just to deny so many people who honestly need it is ridiculous. And it kind of, it's almost like they're just using it as a means to say, well, see, we do help people, but you don't.
But no, it's like, yeah, it's mad. I mean, I'm going on a research trip in less than 2 weeks, so basically a week and a bit now. You should see the amount of things that I'm having to take. I'm having to take a hot water bottle, I'm having to take painkillers, I'm having to take these little patches I use that are like cooling patches. And I'm like, this is taking up space in my luggage. I can have one suitcase, so I've got to get all the way from Liverpool to Hampshire on a train, which is like, basically whole way across the country. Even like things like we have to kind of carry things around and equipment, not even, I mean, I'll be taking my walking stick. I don't know if I'll need it. I hope I don't need it. But it's little things that you have to kind of prepare for every eventuality. When me and Katie are out, between us, we cover the pharmacy, we've got painkillers, we've got,
Yes.
everything's a really good one. You've got your wrist brace, I've got my walking stick, I've got all sorts, just in case, because, as everyone, knows that, you can never quite predict a flare. You never know when it's going to come on. You don't know how bad it's going to be.
Right.
So you just got to prepare, and that's difficult. And kind of being chronically ill or being disabled adds a lot to your life. Just having to like cart things around half the time.
Yeah, and it's freeing to have the cane and the crutches and my wheelchair, but having to worry about carrying all of them because some spaces just don't want to cater to a person who needs crutches or a wheelchair, which I don't understand either. Or having to worry about them getting crushed or broken when you're on a train or a bus or on a plane. That's a lot of extra, worry. And then to not have any help whatsoever. Like, for instance, we had just finally gotten, with our last actual administration, the basically like airlines were going to pay us back if they damaged our wheelchairs. But our dictator Cheeto has decided that, no, we don't need to do that. And it's just like, you keep fussing about how nobody wants to work. And yet you take away everything that allows everyone to work. So, gee, I wonder why nobody wants to work. Because you can't. And I'm not saying, that it would be great if he made it easy, because I don't like him. So, I want him to go down in a ball of flames, melt off that Cheeto. But, I mean, I'm not calling for violence, but is still just, it's frustrating when you become disabled, whether or not you're born that way or it's, later in life. And you have all of these things that you need to bring with you all the time. And there's never any help to pay for them, to obtain them, to upkeep them. And it's always on us. And the little bit that we could get with PIP or this disability insurance, things like that, would go so far. But yet they deny everybody so much. And then you hear stories of people who had a hangnail and they got it easily. And you're just like, what in the hell is this shit? Because, we knew somebody who was able to get here in disability for a bad back, even though they could work.
Like, their back hurt. That was it.
Yeah, their back hurt. They could get it. I am literally sitting here in a wheelchair because my legs do not fucking work. And I can, like I said, I can stand a little bit, I can walk a little bit, but for the most part, my knees want to scream at me and say, get off me. And it's not because I'm overweight. And I can't even get it.
No, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's part of reason why I love talking to you guys, because all of you get it. All of you understand that frustration of wanting help and needing help, and then they just kind of look at you like, why?
Going back to our friendship and stuff as well, I had a massive argument with my neighbour across the landing during the summer holidays after she butted in when I was trying to ask for help to get my flat out and all that. She kept comparing me to a sepsis patient, an amputee and all that, and I was just like,
honestly, that woman.
And after our second or third Barney across the landing, I was in so much tears. I ended up going to Emma's house because I just didn't want to be around.
Being like, can I come over? And I was like, of course you can come over. But needed.
Yeah, but it was just when Emma opened her front door and she's like, I've got a Pepsi Max ready, I've got tissues ready, and I was like, huh?
See, now Emma, you rock. This is why I love you all, because you guys understand that sometimes when shit goes down, here's a pint, here's a beer or ice cream, whichever you need at this moment, here's some tissues, here's a bucket, whatever you need. And you guys understand that. And that's what we also need in this fight, because having somebody understand is awesome.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's just, Emma, you are truly the quintessential friend of the year, of every year, because there are so many people that don't understand how to be friends. Yes, I would love to give you a crown, because so many people don't understand how to be friends. And sometimes it's just listening. Just, here's what you need. Okay, here you go. And cry on my shoulder. I will listen. I'm not going to give you advice. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just, I'm going to listen. And we need so many more people. Can we clone you, Emma?
I mean, if we had the science to do it, I would hope so. We could also cure all our ailments.
Because it's true though. You guys are truly beautiful, in so many ways, and I appreciate that, because I get to know you, even though we're an ocean apart. I feel like I would be able to just call you up and talk to you, and it's so. And I hope you feel that you could do that with me too if you needed to, and that's the beauty of.
We both nodded in its audio.
Yes. Yes, they nodded. Yes, people. Just so you know.
Don't come near. No, we are nodding alone.
They do like me, people. They're not saying, "Oh no, God, no."
We're not being held here against our will, we promise.
But I think friendship is such a beautiful thing that so many of us don't get a chance to. I didn't have, since I was probably about 8, true friends. It never felt like I had true friends. And being able to have Mike, even though he's my husband, so there's that.
Yeah, I have to. I'm obligated.
But having Mike as one of my best friends like makes a huge difference, and I want that for everybody, because being able to just say I don't feel good, and that person say, okay, what do you need, and here, lay on me, or whatever it is, we'll sit up and talk all night, or whatever you need. That's the type of friends that helps us get through these things, especially when,
I'm not very good at that, though.
yeah, you do kind of suck,
I
but
have to be honest. I'm not real good at that.
However you soul, but,
You don't feel good? I'll take some medicine and come on, let's go.
he's not that bad. He's not like a slave driver. And why haven't you done this yet? But he has his type of way of showing those things. And that's but like I was saying, is that's what we need in this fight. And being able to get past, the growing fascism across Europe and across, that's here in America, which again, it doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And being able to make sure that we are still here in the end, because it's an ugly fight and we all know the history of it. We've seen it countless times throughout history. And you know what? LGBTQ disabled people have always been here. We have always been around. We will always be there to remind you that we are here. And we're going to keep doing that. And because no matter what type of eugenics crap you do, somebody ends up disabled, because DNA always triumphs. And we have to, understand that. And I know I'm like talking about like 8 billion different things at once, but they all really do relate.
I think that's where my sort of head's at the moment. So as I said on our group chat, I've started my master's degree now, because I was like, you know what, I don't know if I want to be teaching. I don't know if I want to actually be in front of a classroom at this point. I'm still on supply, but I kind of want to not be doing that. But while I was researching for my year 11s, because I taught media last year when I was in work, I came across the fact that the government here want to implement a media literacy curriculum to make sure that kids are, acknowledging, media in the right sense, analysing it, criticising it if it needs to be, pointing out fake news, AI, made, generated. And I think that's where my head's at the moment. I'm like, well, because obviously in the last episode I discussed my magazine, which I currently put on hold, but hey. But I feel like if people see themselves in the media, like with the endometriosis story in Waterloo Road that I spoke about, I feel like if people see themselves in the media, that could help in the sense of, we can be more empathetic against each other. We've seen representation. We've got a load of LGBT being advertised on media now. We've got, we've had Heartstopper and that sort of thing. So that's why I started my MA in albeit in education, but at the end goal, I'm thinking I kind of want to be part of this media curriculum that the UK want to implement, because I'm thinking it's a mix of a computing degree anyways, because it's about algorithms, AI, fake news. It's all my media knowledge, because I did media A-level. It's all my social media knowledge that I've obviously been doing. And it's just a nice blend, I think, of all of them. And I think it's just a good way to hopefully get everybody represented in some way eventually. And we get some sort of empathetic, albeit it's targeted for high school kids, because obviously that's where they want to target. But I think eventually it should be across the board. And obviously these kids will eventually be citizens of the world. So that's where I'm aligning my career path to now. Like, do my MA. I've actually just been asked to write some articles for an education magazine about it.
Awesome. Congrats.
Awesome.
So that's my current head state. Like, do my MA, get involved in this curriculum somehow, whether it's in research, whether it's in curriculum development itself or something. But I feel
that's
like
gorgeous.
we love an educated queen.
Yes. And the more that we are educated, the harder it is to then take that away from anybody. and, take away the critical thinking and skills and media literacy, because a dumb population is easier to control than a bunch of well-educated people. And no matter what happens, they can never, ever take that back from you. And that's why I personally love education so much, because, partially it's, part of my history, because for so long, Black people weren't allowed to read. Hispanics weren't allowed to read because, they got to keep them down. But just education can be so good to pull people out and learn about, Jane Austen, like, that's necessary because she was such a great literary genius.
All right, on that note. We do need to wrap it up, though.
As I was saying, but having the study of, different authors and different mediums and different technology and all of that stuff just helps us push forward and, keep going forward, as opposed to wanting to go back to ignorance and, less education and all of that stuff. But they can't take that from us. And I think that is so wonderful that you're going for your MA. And it's not to say that everybody has to go and get a bachelor's or a master's or anything. Just read a book, read a magazine, read a comic book if that's all you want to do. But the thing is that you got to know how to read, and you got to keep reading, because the more you read, the more you'll understand. Okay, this is not right. This is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so easy now to kind of access, even outside of academics. I mean, my PhD, I didn't start it off intending to look at like kind of chronic illness and disability, but it has merged in that way, and that's what I do a lot of reading on now, kind of pain studies and disability and chronic illness and things. But even outside of academic articles, like there's books and there's things that you can pick up, in Waterstones or your equivalent, Barnes and Noble or whatever, where you can just go into a shop and you can pick a book up and it can educate you about disability, about the marginalised, about whatever that topic may be. And our stories are represented in that, in whatever, someone kind of wants to learn about. It can find something about that topic, no matter where you go.
And real quick, don't shake your head at me.
We're done.
I
We
don't
have
care.
enough time.
Yes, we do. Now, wait a minute.
You're getting edited out.
Oh, shut up. Anyway.
Cut the power.
You have not. But
With the anniversary special, it can go on for a bit longer,
yes,
right?
exactly. This is our 1 year special, Mike. Anyway, as I was trying to say, is understanding how literature, hundreds of years ago, 50 years ago, thousands of years ago, also addresses how people were, treated and understood when they were obviously, autistic or disabled, kind of also helps frame our understanding of how we want to be treated now and how people want to treat other people now. So I think that's an important aspect of understanding, because it just kind of helps you understand that, well, I don't want to be treated like that. Or, you read it and I don't want my kids treated like that. I don't want my friends treated like that, or my parents. And I think it kind of pushes us into the idea of, since you don't want that for anybody that yourself, your family, or friends, then it kind of pushes us into the knowledge of we're not going to allow that. And so I think it's a great service that you're doing, Emma, with, combining those two things, because I think it's awesome and fascinating. And when your dissertation, you write dissertations too? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it differed or anything, because I know that there's also
either one. They use them interchangeably.
Okay, because I know that there's like beyond a doctorate there. I think it was or something like that. Somebody got like mega doctorate or so I don't remember what it was called, but it's just, I think that is necessary and it's needed, and to give us a great lens to start with, and to be able to say no, not at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up, I did want to let you, Emma, mention your new Instagram profile
Yes.
thingy you have going. Your new account, that's it.
I'm honoured. Yeah, I'm going to shout myself out here. Everyone go follow Chronically Literary, and yeah, follow me. It's chronically.literary on Instagram. If anyone wants to go and follow me over there, I will much appreciate it. I'm inspired by Katie and our friendship in the theme of today's episode, to basically make my own account and kind of try and do as wonderful things as she's doing, and of course you're doing with the podcast too. So I'm just like I'm on the bandwagon.
I've definitely noticed that whenever I find something, Emma sort of follows on. So I did this, Emma did this. I did my medical research story, Emma's done the research story, and now we're here together. So
I think it's beautiful, though.
Remind people how to find you as well, Katie.
I'm Tendonitis Journey on Instagram. It's all one word, so yeah.
But thank you so much. Truly, it has been an honor to get to know you guys and keep in touch with us. I honestly, you guys have got to follow them, and if they ever do like YouTube stuff, listen to them because their voices are like awesome. So thank you very much. And
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Thank you so
If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Please leave a rating for us wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Othering Podcast is brought to you by LoudCore Productions in conjunction with your support. Your host, Mike and Dory Morris, graphics by Joshua Morris, and join us next week on the Othering Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Othering Podcast by Mike and Dory. Please like and follow us on all of your favorite social media.
The Othering Podcast is produced by LoudCore Productions, graphics by Josh, and music by Jordy James.